Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm here with Trevor. And I don't know what you're doing, dude, but are you all right?
What do you mean? Literally, like we started and immediately you froze.
Oh, all right.
I was so confused.
Okay. Welcome, dude.
What's up? What's up? What's
How
up?
you doing?
Good, man. It's been a busy week, but good so far. What about you?
Nah, same thing. It's like consistently warm now, you know? Like it's not one of those where it like can't decide whether it's hot or cold. So it's just consistently nice weather. So
well, that's nice. I mean, you've got that for a couple weeks, and then you're gonna just be sweating your.
Nah, dude, it was funny. Today it was like 80 degrees, and I was outside, and I was like, man, it's like a little chilly still with the wind.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, yeah,
no, we've got some rain rolling through in the next day or so. So I ran out and I fertilized my lawn real quick. Try to get it in before the rain.
Yeah. I think that's going to end up coming down this way too. I think they said next week we're going to have like severe weather and stuff. So.
Oh, really?
If I die, it was nice knowing you.
Dude, don't even start with that. You're the one who's going to be out on your porch chasing the storms.
Yeah, dude, they're sick. So, I don't know, man. I got nothing else really to like music wise. I can't really think of anything.
I don't know off the top of my head if I remember anything really new. Dude, you freaking missed out. I saw the Days Tour videos from down in Texas, and it looked freaking awesome.
Cool.
Dude, just come on, man. You got to do that stuff.
I'm going to Obituary and Terror on Saturday, so that'll be fun.
Not an excuse. Come on.
Nah, it's a fine excuse.
And then just announced Die Young is coming back to Dallas.
Was it May 25th?
24th.
24th. And they've got I can't remember the bands. There's a couple out-of-state bands that they're playing with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not familiar with the bands they're playing with, so I need to look into them. But if they're playing with Die Young and Daniel says that they're cool guys, like, my guess is they're probably pretty solid.
And I think the full Pit Therapy is going to make an appearance at the show. So
I'm flying down. I'm flying into Dallas. And my wife was like, so immediately after I fly in, I go see Die Young. I'm staying the night with you. And then I'm flying to Boston from Dallas to meet my family in Massachusetts. And like, my wife was cool with it. Like, she was like, yeah, you're good. Just go. Like 3 hours after I booked my ticket, she had a massive panic attack. And she was like, I can't do this. I can't do the airport with all the kids by myself. Like, you got to call Kyle and you can't go. I was like, not doing that. You said I could go. We just booked this. Like, you'll be fine.
That is a lot of work, man. 4 kids, one of them being a newborn.
I know, but her sister's flying out with her and stuff. So
yeah, that's good. But, you're like 2 oldest kids are probably old enough that they can help and make it.
I mean, if she was legitimately alone, like, I'd be canceling my ticket and going with my wife. But her sister's going with her. My older 2 can help. Like, they'll be fine.
Yeah, that's sick. I saw that Combust is coming down here.
Yeah.
May 8th, and I think like Spit My Rage and stuff's gonna open for him. So
that looks like a sick show.
That'll be cool. I'll be heading out to that one. So
yeah, definitely go catch that one for sure.
Their Combust's new album is like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Have you listened to it?
I have, but not enough. Like, I think I've listened through once or twice.
They leaned quite a bit more into like the crossover thrash sound, and I'm like, oh,
Oh
look.
yeah, I'm remembering this now. I just threw it on real quick. It's like, okay, so it's New York, right? So you get that very New York style, but then it is that crossover.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
it's
sick.
Mind Force if it was thrash vocals instead of Jay and his like just yelling. But the album, I'm a huge fan of the album. I've listened to it a whole bunch. I've combusted all over the place listening to it. So it's good stuff. I'm excited to see him.
Dude, come on, man.
There's no way
Yeah, dude,
that like everybody uses that. So
combusted all over them.
yeah.
Go up to them at the show and just be like, "Hey, I've combusted to your album," and see
Yeah,
what
dude.
they say.
Maybe I will.
I
Maybe I
guarantee
will.
they're like slappy or something. They're just like,
Probably,
no.
probably, or maybe they'll combust too. Who knows, dude?
I'm gonna say probably not.
Yeah. So I don't know what other tours you got. I saw that I Killed the Prom Queen is doing a Australia reunion tour, and I'm pissed that it's not coming to America because I
Is
freaking
it
love I Killed the Prom Queen.
music for the recently deceased?
I don't know that it's album anniversary. I think they're just playing like a
Just
reunion.
playing some shows.
Yeah,
That's cool. Like music for the recently deceased was amazing.
yeah.
The rest of their stuff was okay. Like it's not bad, but like I'm not jumping out of my seat to go see their newer albums. I'm jumping out of my seat for music for the recently deceased. But the rest of it, like it's cool,
I heard
you
it's
know.
like 2/3 of the original lineup, which is
Oh,
sick.
sick.
So
So it's probably going to be a lot more of the old stuff.
yeah, probably.
Like what is that song Colombian Necktie?
Yeah, yeah.
So nasty.
Dude, if we got them to do music for the recently deceased with a Parkway Drive playing "Killing with a Smile," like, dude,
Oh my
I would,
gosh.
I would combust everywhere. You know.
That is one where it's like I'd pay a lot of money to
Oh,
go to
dude,
that show.
I would fly.
Dude,
I would
them
fly.
bring D's nuts with you. Like, let's go straight old school Australian, like hardcore metalcore
Yeah, it'd be sick.
would be wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Your shirt would look better with the Colombian necktie.
Did
Just
we ever see
nasty.
that Kill the Prom Queen? Did they do Warp Tour one year?
I don't think
I feel like
so.
I feel like I've seen them play
I thought we saw him one time, but I don't. I mean, I have to look it up now.
because I know that I've seen. What's the first song? Sharks in Your Mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
I swear that I've seen Sharks in Your Mouth live.
I mean, maybe Parkway covered it.
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was I Killed the Prom Queen. Maybe I haven't, dude. I don't know. Too many.
They did play the 2015 Warp Tour, is what it says. So maybe did you go to 2015? I don't know if I went to. I don't
I
think
don't
I
know.
went to
I don't think
2015.
so. Did they tour? So they tour the U.S. Any other ones?
I'm looking.
Oh, dude, this album's so freaking good.
Yeah, it is, dude. Like that's a band that it's another one like we should talk about just for that album. But also, I don't necessarily want to spend a whole hour on just that album. So, I mean, I actually really did like Beloved. I thought it was good. Um, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I
Never listened.
mean? You never listened to Beloved?
I
Oh,
literally think the only album I listened to them was Music for the Recently Deceased.
I mean, they were so hit and miss, like in terms of like performing and music coming out after that. That Beloved was
Yeah.
2014. So I don't think I ever when Goodbye means. Yeah, I think that
No, I don't know these albums.
From Autumn to Ashes. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if we saw them. This was a band that we would have seen if they
Yeah.
were here. So I would be surprised if they came through Utah and we didn't see them. I'm trying to find if they were over here. Not seeing
I
anything
don't
yet.
know. Maybe not.
Yeah. Anyways, we
Maybe.
can keep going while I'm I'm scrolling through here. But
Yeah,
yeah, dude, that's nasty. I would love to see this old Australian metalcore, hardcore. Like, dude, it's just so good.
it
Like that
was.
time, I don't think like going back today, I don't think you would appreciate it as much as that we appreciated it back in the day. Dude, it was just
Maybe not. It is this type of like melodic metalcore is not really around though right now. So because
Balmora,
no, but like the
Ashaharas.
vocals, they're way too fast though. This was like really slow melodic metalcore. I don't know.
Dude,
It just sounded different. It did.
freaking those days metalcore bands right now. They are definitely giving me the throwback vibes. I freaking love it. You are wild for not agreeing.
I'm lowering my desk. So, do
Yeah.
you got any other tours or any other music? If not, I had kind of a random question to ask you.
Um, no, I mean, there's been a few more shows that were in. Oh, Bleeding Through's coming through. They're playing May 31st out here at State and Church, and Crow Killer's playing again. So if you missed them on Days Tour, go catch Crow Killer. Because again, I don't know how much. I don't know how much stuff is going to be happening with those guys going forward. You should go
Yeah,
see them. And Bleeding Through, playing with Bleeding Through in a small venue, that's going to be a sick show.
yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be way cool. Bleeding Through is one of those like not hardcore bands, but part of the hardcore scene. You know,
Yeah, for sure. And like I think they were here 10 years ago was the last time that they came through. So it's been a while. And I think it's going to get wild. I think it's going to be a good throwback show because I do think that they have some contacts still here in Utah. So I think it's going to be sick.
oh man,
I'm
this
unfortunately out of town.
yeah, I forgot about this band. To be honest with you, it's not my
Who?
thing. Bleeding Through.
Oh yeah, we skipped them at Furnace Fest.
That's right, we did.
Yeah,
Well, oh
I
well.
don't mind. I don't mind old Bleeding Through. Old Bleeding Through sick. I like that.
Um, well, if you don't have anything else, dude, look, I was on like social media. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with our algorithm, but like some of the band's music that's popping up uh, is like this really cheesy, corny, like girls making not very good music, and I'm convinced it's AI. Right.
Okay.
My question is, how much AI do you think is really out there right now with music? Do you think it's completely taken over? Because there's this. Have you heard of the theory called the dead internet theory?
No.
So there's this theory that like nothing on the internet is real. That all the comments, all the posts, all this stuff is done by AI and bots. Like
I
no
mean, we're
one,
fake.
like there's a really small portion of like actual people that are doing things on the internet,
I
and
mean,
everything else is just bots.
is that even a question at this point? Like, where are you going with
Not
this?
really, not really that. I'm just saying, like, how much AI do you think is in music right now? Do you think it's completely taken over? Do you think that?
No.
Do you think you can't tell anymore if it's AI?
No, I don't think so because you do still see the bands that like have a random AI song get added to their Spotify and different things like that. And it sounds like the bands, but at the same time, I do think that you can somewhat tell. I haven't listened to a ton of it, but
But we're talking like, so we live in this really random corner of the music world. Like, I think we can spot the music we listen to if it's AI fairly easy, right? I
so
mean,
you're
we
talking
talk a
about
lot
music
about
in general.
talking about music in general because again,
Yeah.
this I thought about this because all these like, and even like you click on the profiles of some of these like female artists that pop up, and you look at it, and you're like, I can't even tell if these pictures are real.
Sure.
And so I'm just thinking, like, do you think that everything else, the other 98% of the music world, do you think AI is just completely overrun it? Do you think that like these songwriters are just done? It's just AI now.
I mean, probably, but the fact is, like, the most popular stuff, it's like it's the same chord progressions and stuff like that that's just happening. And so all that's happening now is instead of a huge sample library where they've probably just rearranged chords, beats, all of that kind of stuff, now it's just AI rearranging it for them instead. So like I think that that's not surprising to me. I think what is going to be interesting is lyric writing. What feels
Yeah.
genuine going forward? Or what's just write me a catchy pop song
Yeah,
with
no, like
a hook about my dog.
sure.
Like
Dude,
that's
I
what's
heard
going to be weird.
like one that kept popping up was this like girl that's singing country, and it was like something between her and a Miller Lite. And I'm just like, dude, these are not like, there's no way that you're like sitting down thinking about like lyrics and you're just writing that bullshit, you know?
Right.
like,
Right.
like it's got to be AI. Like, there's no other explanation. And maybe I just have higher expectations of music, which is another point I wanted to bring up in a second. But like, I don't know. It doesn't feel. It feels like it's got to be AI to me.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like lyric writing, easily, I could see someone who's just like, write me a country song about sitting on my back porch with a beer. And you know what? Let's make it a light beer. And you know what? Miller's actually my favorite. So let's switch it to Miller. Now make it
Yeah.
all rhyme. Like, because that's what you can do with AI. You can just keep like
No,
adding
I
your
know.
prompts and filtering it down. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do think that you're going to get very surface level music coming out in the future. And, you know, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if we can decipher when it does enter into metal and into the
Yeah.
DIY scene and things like that. Whereas it's like, we talked about war complexes. Write me a hardcore song, talk about war complexes or things that have happened because of the government, whatever it is, and seeing if like it sounds stupid or if it sounds like legitimate thoughts.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Um,
interesting.
I mean, I think I think people that are into like actual hardcore, I think that we are self aware enough to hopefully not fall into that trap. I think a big, we've talked about it, a big reason why we're so involved is because of the realness of the scene. Like, we talk crap on bands that are just fully backtracked when they're playing. Like, it's already creeping in there into a certain extent where like I saw a band open for sale soon that I wasn't even convinced they were playing the instruments up there,
Sure.
you know? And so the logical step for them is to just have AI write their music too, because they probably don't even know how to write their music,
Sure.
And Josh has talked about how like bands have gone into record and like
Yeah.
producers have gone in and recorded the stuff for them,
Right.
And
Right.
so it's like the logical step here is like, well, we just cut out the extra man.
Just
And
cut
then
out the
here's
writing
what.
process.
Yeah.
It's gonna turn
So
into boy bands. It's
yeah.
gonna be who looks good up on stage.
And it pisses me off.
That's what matters. So
Pisses me off. And I want to, first of all, can we all agree that like the first band, the hardcore band that tries to pass off AI songs, that we just jump them? Right? Like, can we just get rid of it real quick? Second thing is, I want to make it clear, for better, for worse, you and I are not going to use AI, right? Like,
or we already are.
no, I'm not. The shitty content that we release is 100% coming from us.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
listen, if anything was trying to replicate this, like they're doing it would be much better or at
Yeah.
least
No,
much more coherent.
like, I think, I hope people can understand that like we're trying to be as authentic as we can, and for better, for worse, all the content we put out there is done by me and you. That's
I
why our
don't think
editing sucks.
I
That's
don't think
why
anyone would question that.
I know, but I don't think they would either. But I'm saying it like I take pride in the fact that like if you watch our video on YouTube, the freaking like borders of stuff is not completely right because I'm eyeballing this whole thing. I'm not using anything, man. So
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna toot our own horn a little bit with that. That like it may
Yeah.
look trashy, but at least we're doing it.
At least it's real. So
It's DIY. This is DIY podcast all the way through. It's gonna suck, but at least it's us.
agreed.
So
Agreed.
yeah. All right.
Uh,
I guess that's it. Unless you got anything else.
I mean, no, but Finch is a band that you could probably say, write me a song that sounds like Finch and get something that spit out that honestly would
Maybe
probably sound like Finch.
maybe their
So,
later album. I don't know. You could their first two, but hey, talk for a second. I'm gonna turn my fan on. So just talk for a second.
oh man, you're putting me freaking on the spot. So you chose Finch. I don't know if you can still hear me. You told me just to talk, but you chose Finch because this is a band that really kind of set the stage for you when you were younger. Because What It Is to Burn was what, 2002? So this is
Sadly,
where, yeah, dude, 2002, I believe.
it is. Yeah.
And so we are 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Brady's walking into the house, showing you what it is to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
100%, dude. I remember vividly sitting in my brother's room listening to this album.
yeah. So you said that you wanted to pick this band because of the absolute nostalgia hit and the impact What It Is to Burn had
Yeah.
on you.
So this is a
Talk
band I've
about it.
wanted. Yeah, this is a band I want to talk about for a while because I think What It Is to Burn is probably a top five, and people are probably keeping count and being like, "Dude, you've had like 30 top fives." What It Is to Burn is seriously like a top five album for me. It's been as influential musically to me as probably any other album. I will always regard this album as one of the greatest of all time. And I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about this band because I literally can't say that about any of their other albums. I don't know that there's another band that had a single album be as important to me when the rest of their discography just did not hit it for me. You know what I mean?
Trying to think of who there might be. But
I mean,
yeah,
a lot
sure.
of these bands we've talked about, like Thursday, like
We still listen to more.
you at least have two albums there that you could put up against any other album in the genre, right?
Yeah. Fair.
Like that's what I'm saying is a lot of these bands that we've talked about, you could put at least two of their albums, most of them more, against any of the other albums, and they're still better. I don't know that I can say that about Finch, but What It Is to Burn, honestly, might be one of the greatest albums of all time.
And this is what's crazy is they are so extremely polarizing with
Yeah,
that take alone.
I know.
Like, What It Is to Burn was very monumental for us. Say Hello to Sunshine is groundbreaking for a
Yeah,
corner of post hardcore that has just absolutely latched onto that album. And like, I I didn't get it, right? Like, Say Hello to Sunshine. I have the album. I bought the album. It's right here. I took the time to go find my physical copy of the album. I really enjoy it today. I bought this album and it sat in my room for probably 10 years with me listening to it twice.
yeah,
Like I didn't get it because of What It Is to Burn.
yeah. No, I remember listening to like two songs of Say Hello to Sunshine when it came out, and I don't think I ever listened to it again until maybe the last couple of years I tried listening to it.
Yeah.
And even then, it was like I was in a point where if I didn't love it, I wasn't going to listen to it. And so I just didn't listen to it. You know,
Right.
I've going back and listening to it now. I think and actually sitting down and like sitting down and paying attention to it and listening to it, I might be able to have a little different opinions towards stuff in that album.
Yeah.
But it's just What It Is to Burn, in my opinion, casts such a large shadow for this band, for me, that I don't know. Like it's nothing would have come close to it, even if it was really good. But like you said, people feel that way about Say Hello to Sunshine. There's people that are like, yeah, What It Is to Burn doesn't do with me. I don't know if they were dropped as a kid or like ate a lot of paint chips or something. Like, I don't know, but I don't get it.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I mean, get into it. Like,
Yeah.
talk about why this is such a monumental album for you. Because, like, let me just start off by saying I listened to Finch because of you.
Okay.
Like, that's what it was. I didn't have What It Is to Burn. I listened, and again, we're 11 and 12 years old. We weren't burning CDs at the time. Um, so when I listened to it, it was in your basement. And the only songs that, like, the whole album was good, but the songs that stood out to me are the ones that stood out to everyone. Letters to You,
Mm.
that was like classic. Why that wasn't played on the radio absolutely everywhere
Yeah,
is baffling, right?
yeah.
What It Is to Burn, that song,
Might
insane.
be might be a top 3 greatest post-hardcore song ever written.
So freaking good, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, but those are like where it kind of really falls for me. And listening back to it now, like, we've listened through these albums the last week, and there's bangers throughout the whole thing.
Mhm.
Gray Matter, absolutely awesome. I think it's Project Mayhem. Is that
Yeah.
it? That's just heavy, fast,
Uh-huh.
aggressive. Yeah, that's where, like, you can see where they would tour with, like, From Autumn to Ashes or
Mhm.
something like that. Like, they're those contemporaries on that side of the post-hardcore that's more metal, right? Finch was just a very encapsulating band that they could tour with the straight post hardcore and they could tour with the metal side of post hardcore. And it
Yeah.
was good regardless.
Well, they just played. It was Armor for Sleep, right? The tour they went on where they
And
did the
Bayside.
anniversary for and Bayside. Yeah, they did an anniversary for What It Is to Burn.
Yeah.
Um, I just, I think so. My older brother's 4 years older than me. So 2002, I'm like 11, 12 years old. He's 16.
Yeah.
And um, like my brother was into like punk and things like that too. But like with like my cousins that are around his age or a little older, I also listen to a lot of, stuff like Incubus. Um, who sings Glycerine?
Uh,
Bush? Bush?
Bush. Yeah.
Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters. If you listen, have you ever heard that story where he talks about uh, Christopher Walken?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, Christopher Walken goes, he's like, is the emphasis on Foo or Fighters? And they were like, we're gonna mess with it. We're gonna say Fighters. He's like, okay, Foo Fighters. It's great. Go watch that. Anyways, this like, it's like grunge, but it wasn't really like Nirvana, Pearl Jam grunge. It was like that Incubus, like new metal-y rock, all that stuff, right? Like that like second wave of grunge music. Like that was a big part too of what my older brother listened to, and all my cousins, and like even my mom got into that stuff a little bit. So I was like very familiar with that kind of sound. And Finch to me felt like a natural progression of like a little heavier. Like you even brought it up, right? Like there's parts of What It Is to Burn that feels very incubus-y,
Yeah.
And so I think that's maybe why I attached to it so much. The funny thing about this album is like there's a specific memory I have of hanging out with our friend Charlie. This would have been in ninth grade.
Yeah.
So that's what, 2005, maybe
Okay.
ish.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like springtime. I'm like sitting out on his lawn and his like room. They had like the duplex house, and like his room had like the window that looked out. It was like half the window was in the grass. The other half was like above it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was like blasting this album from his room while we're sitting out, hanging out on his front lawn. And it's like, this is 2005, dude. Like, Say Hello to Sunshine's out.
Yeah.
I'm older. This is 3 years after this album. And I still remember this being a constant, like, repeat for all of us. You know what I mean? So, like, because there's a lot of albums and stuff where I have like emotional attachments that were like, I listened to it for 6 months straight and then we either outgrew it or, there was other stuff. This album's never done that. I can't think of a time that I wasn't listening to this album.
And I mean, I think that speaks volumes to more or less like the core of who you are musically, right? Like post-hardcore is what we built a lot of the foundation of what we listen to off of. We listen to a lot of post-hardcore.
Yeah.
And the thing about What It Is to Burn is, did you see the argument that this is a pop punk album online when you?
I disagree with that, but no, I did not see it.
Okay. I do too. This is very clearly an emo post-hardcore album. but there are pop punk tendencies when you put it into the perspective of 2002. So if you put it into the perspective of a Saves the Day, who I just caught with Census Fail and stuff, this bridges the gap on that side too.
Yeah.
So like it is interesting that they do have that kind of stuff. It's obviously heavier. They lean into the hardcore aspect, the post-hardcore aspect. Nate's vocals are incredible. They're very deep and there's a lot of depth to them. His screams or his queen singing, all of it's in there. So there's more to it than pop punk, but you listen to some of the guitar work and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, I could see where like a Saves the Day
Yeah.
pulls influence from. And the reason I bring that up is because of what happens later when the band breaks up and three of the guys grab Buddy Nelson and they create the band Speak the Truth, even if your voice shakes.
Yeah.
Like that is a pop post-hardcore album. If you want to like drop the punk aspect of it, it's like a poppy post-hardcore album.
Yeah.
And so like it is interesting to see where they go from here because they experimented hard after this album.
Which, I've heard there's a lot of, it didn't seem like this band really got along, and we'll get into that second. I mean, I don't know what else we have to touch on with What Is the Burn. One thing that's kind of funny is I remember being like 12 years old and listening to songs like Gray Matter.
Yeah.
Like 12 years old, and it's like significantly heavier.
Right.
And but as I'm like getting older, like I listen to way heavier music than Gray Matter.
Oh, 100%.
For some reason, there's still this like mental block in my head that when like Gray Matter and Project Mayhem come on, I feel like I have to skip them because like 12-year-old Kyle would have skipped them,
See, that's funny because at that point we're listening to AFI, The Art of Drowning and stuff like that. Those
so
albums,
that, though.
Huh?
This is so much heavier than that. Project Mayhem and Gray Matter are way heavier than anything AFI did.
I guess it's more punky. Yeah.
Yeah, like Project Mayhem's like a freaking Converge song almost. Like the Chariot. Like, this is like a Chariot
pushing it on that. They're not technical on any of that stuff.
Go listen to the beginning of Project Mayhem and tell me you couldn't pass that as a Chariot song.
All right. Listen, it is heavier. This is pushing us now. Like you just said, we're getting more comfortable with screaming. We're getting more comfortable with heavy. As I mentioned, if you weren't listening to this, were you really going to get into From Autumn to Ashes? Were you even going to get into Boy Sets Fire? You know what I mean? Like,
Boy Sets Fire is a good band to like kind of compare them with,
Yeah. So there's like Alexis on Fire. That's another one. Like this is a band that definitely opened up the gateway for us for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And this is the post-hardcore that makes me feel very nostalgic. And cause same with like, we talk crap on current metalcore, whatever, current deathcore, but current post-hardcore and even the like Rise Records generation of post-hardcore kind of sucked too. Like I know people loved like Chiodos, but like that's just emo music. But everyone like packages them as post-hardcore. Like this stuff felt like actual post-hardcore to me, A Static Lullaby, Boy Sets Fire, Alexis on Fire, like you're saying, like that. Like let's bring back the like straight jeans with the carabiner and the like zip up jacket that's open, like not emo hair, but like just normal long hair, but it's kind of bowl cutty, like that's
or bleached and spiking it up just a little bit throughout.
Yeah, dude, like the Static Lullaby singer had like the front part that was dyed, Yeah, like let's bring that kind of post-hardcore back. I don't want the Hot Topic-y post-hardcore, So
yeah, I just the problem is I think that this leans too much towards alt rock at this point. Like if you're to like you're going to get more of like the Incubus sound. There's going to be
Yeah.
more electronica put into it. And when I was reading about when what it is to burn was being recorded, they gave credit to their producer for adding as much electronic aspects into this album. They clearly said if they had not gone and recorded with Mark Trombino, they would not have had those aspects in it. And again, this is the Incubuses. This is when all that kind of stuff is happening. You're getting a lot of that like alt rock, hard alt rock, like you mentioned, kind of grungy kind of sounds happening at those times. And that's what pushes us into Say Hello to Sunshine. This is where the like what it is to burn to Say Hello to Sunshine actually kind of makes sense when you kind of put it into that lens and that perspective of where they're going with it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Um, I think that these guys were probably kids that grew up in a more heavier alternative scene, whether it was hardcore or just, more the traditional post-hard quicksand type post-hardcore, that was very.
Well, they credit Deftones and Hum,
Okay,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So you want to put Deftones in there? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can
Right.
hear that
So there
influence.
is heavy influence, right? This wasn't because I feel like there's bands that kind of just stumbled across being heavy. It wasn't necessarily done with intention.
Sure.
And I think that these guys did, especially when you get into like Say Hello to Sunshine, because you're right. I think there's a fork in the road after What It Is to Burn. And they're like, we either go down the Incubus path or we go down the heavier, more chaotic path. And, like they clearly chose the more heavier, chaotic, technical path. And, it is what it is. Their last album, like it kind of goes back a little bit, I think, to more of the alt rock type stuff. But
yeah,
I do think that there was like a fork in the road and they're like, well, I guess, we grew up heavy music. We're going to make something heavier.
Yeah. 100%. So the one last thing that we have to say about What It Is to Burn is it put them on such a pedestal. They were like one of the first bands to play Jimmy Kimmel live.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They played Jimmy Kimmel. They played the Carson Daly Show. Like they were on NBC and ABC.
Yeah.
This band, like,
and
it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
but still, like, to have this
to be like that, because like Knocked Loose was just on Jimmy Kimmel, and you're less surprised about that.
I mean, we are, right? But
2003 with Finch though was basically like Knocked Loose today. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna clutch their pearls at Finch being on Jimmy Kimmel in 2003.
I would have loved to see like a reviewer article from 2003 after Finch played. What would that have even looked like? You know what I mean? Like,
there's video of it.
Awesome. Oh, I've seen the video. Yeah. But I'm talking like I'd want to read in the newspaper. Did you see what was on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night? Like
it was a Satan worshiping death metal band called
Exactly. Exactly. He was up there. He was screaming with the devil, like like all that kind of stuff.
About the sun being on fire. The last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll move on. Say Hello Sunshine. Like What It Is to Burn, not the album, the song.
Yeah,
is perfection. Like you could, if you looked up in the dictionary of the perfect song, like this could be there. The way that it's like, this slow build up to this like super emotional chorus, even then the beginning of the song where he just like, it like stops and he screams like she burns. And I'm just like, oh yeah, combust, man. It's so good. Like when they announced the What It Is to Burn tour, I turned to my wife and I was like, if we go to this, you're going to see a grown man cry. Like this song means more to me than like almost anything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So I got to get that out there. Like a lot of people, even the people that say Hello to Sunshine is their best album, every single one that I saw still said What It Is to Burn is their best song.
Oh, interesting.
So how many bands do you think you could do that for? Where you're like, your favorite album's one, but your favorite song of the band is another one. That just shows you how good this song is.
Yeah. That's absolutely a fair point.
all right, that's my monologue about what it is to burn. And it's just, I mean, we could end it there because I don't really care what happens next.
And you know what? Like, so immediately when I went through and I listened to this, I text you and I was just like, Finch is not good. Like,
Finch or Say Hello to Sunshine or Finch?
no. I said the band Finch
That's
is not good. Like, that was my text to you. All right. Listen, for better or for worse, like, I will tell you guys what I say to Kyle. That's not going to get us canceled, right? That's a cancelable offense, right? But
maybe
I literally texted that to you. I said Finch is not good. I went back through. I took what it is to burn just out of my head, and I just listened through, and I really, really listened because, like, Say Hello to Sunshine, with so many people saying this is like the best album that they put out. Not only that, it's one of the best albums, period.
Yeah.
Like, to a corner of the internet. I was like, okay, why? So I went through and I listened to it. And the thing is, there is so much on this album that you start to hear throughout the rest of post-hardcore, metalcore. Like, his vocals are like System of a Down-esque at times. Like, there's absolute just like craziness on this album. Say Hello to Sunshine. I'm going to eat my words. It's a fantastic album. It is really, really good. But I saw multiple people say they went so far away from what it is to burn, they should have changed their name. I read that Reddit. I'll disagree with them. Like, this is enough, especially when you listen to the rest of what they've done, that like it's all pretty cohesive. I can see the argument between what it is to burn and Say Hello to Sunshine, but then you start listening to like the Finch 4-song EP that comes out in 2008. You listen to some of their unreleased albums from 2009 and then 2018 and stuff like that. And they kept parts of Say Hello to Sunshine. They kept parts of what it is to burn. So this is just them experimenting in the time.
Yeah. So, sorry, were you done?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I remember listening to this album when it first came out. It came out in 2005. 2005. Yeah, sorry, I need glasses or something. I couldn't see if it was a 5 or 6. Came out in 2005. I seriously remember listening to the first 2 songs and being like, nope, this isn't Finch. It's not for me. And literally like never really listened to it again. And I think that was pretty on par for our friend group too.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a couple bands where I feel like this is funny. This is why people like never say never, right? Because I think like 4 Years Strong did this. Like Rise or Die Trying is literally pinnacle pop punk, right?
Absolutely. And then it was the
Enemy of the World.
No, Enemy of the World. But then the album after that with the Tools.
Yeah, I can't remember is it self-titled?
No, it's not self-titled. Is it? It's not In Some Way, Shape, or Form, right? Because that was the cover album they did.
It's the album that was Just Drive, which Just Drive might be a top 5 For Your Strong song. It's incredible.
I'm really, what is that album called? But it literally, it's exactly what you said. That album turned me off from 4 Years Strong so hard. Oh, it is. It is In Some Way, Shape, or Form. No, that's right. It turned me off so hard from 4 Years Strong. I go and listen to that today.
It's amazing.
It's great. It's great.
And what's funny is like you say it turns you off 4 Years Strong. Like it did me too, to the point where I didn't go back and listen to anything new 4 Years Strong until Brain Pain came out.
Oh, really?
And then I went and listened to Brain Pain. I was like, holy cow, 4 Years Strong is good. And then I went back and listened to the one before it. What's the one before it?
Yeah, the one before it is their self-titled. It has kind of that psychedelic
like
album cover.
Yeah, and like that's like Gravity is an incredible song. Like there's great stuff, and like hindsight is 2020. Like looking back and stuff, like you realize how dumb you were, but all at the same time, like we were 15. Like this was weird. Like this album, Say Hello to Sunshine, is weird.
Yes,
you know, and so like going back and listening to it now, I was just like, I was like grooving to it. I was jamming to it. I was like, this is like Revelation song. Like it's got the really weird guitar, but the way he like paces his vocals during the chorus and stuff, I was just like, this is like groovy and cool and kind of chaotic, but not chaotic to where you have to like spaz out while you're listening to it. I don't know. It's actually a cool listen, you know?
It's very cool. I mean, you listen to like Brother Bleed Brother and stuff like that, and it's towards like the second half of the song, but you get a little bit of a chaotic guitar lead. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for what we've listened to now, right? Tony Danza, The Chariot, that kind of stuff, I don't know if I would have enjoyed this album as much, right? Because I can appreciate that kind of stuff. I appreciate the chaos of it and the chaotic aspect of it. Again, this album sets so much groundwork for where people could go with post-hardcore. Like, and again, like, I don't know, but you listen to like Swancore stuff, Dance Gavin Dance, you listen to all those different bands, a lot like Birds, things like that. If you didn't have a chaotic riff in like Brother Bleed Brother or like in Revelation song and stuff like that, do you get some of those bands?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it was too much for us at the time, like you said, because What It Is to Burn was just, it was an easy to listen to post-hardcore album. Mm-hmm. This was not easy to listen to at that point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting like progression with them. And 2005, like I do think that like Norma Jean is probably releasing stuff. Every Time I Die, I think's releasing stuff. Like there is chaotic stuff out there, but it leans way more towards, in my opinion, the metalcore side.
Metal, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Very, very brash, aggressive vocals. You know, a lot of like screeching and stuff. You know, and like Norma Jean, like guitar wise, right? You get a lot of like the pinch harmonic type stuff. You know, what was interesting about this album is like you don't have as much. I don't think it screams as much as What It Is to Burn did. And we haven't said this in a long time, but this album is heavy without being heavy. Like, yeah, it's drop tuned. His lower vocals, there's not screaming, but you just get this like girth to the music.
I mean, yeah,
I don't know how else to explain it, but this album is girthy. The tones are girthy. I'm going to keep saying girth until you realize that I'm saying girth. All right.
Listen, I know you well enough. You say stuff like that. I just walk over it. Everyone else is like, why does he keep saying girth? To me, it's just Kyle saying Kyle crap. But you listen to,
it's got a girthy sound.
Do you just want me to acknowledge the word girth?
I need you to acknowledge that I'm saying it's girthy.
Let me point out a girthy song for you then, all right? Fireflies on this album is a girthy song. And this is a song that very specifically when I was listening to it, I was like, I even messaged you. I was like, there are so many bands that I pulled from this album. I think of like The Used when I listen to this song.
Oh, yeah, that's a great call.
The Bird and the Worm, like those like heavy, they obviously added some more like orchestra aspects to their song and stuff. But if you don't get that, like you said, that low, deep end, Deftone-ish, Incubus-ish, like style of thing that's happening in there, do you get a Bird and a Worm from The Used? Do you get some of those heavier songs that happen on the post-hardcore albums? It's just like, it's what you said, like, it's just so foundational. Yeah. And I think that it showed bands they didn't have to follow either the pop punk formula or the metal formula when it came to post-hardcore. There was room to experiment in here.
Well, you know what's interesting though is I 100% agree with everything you're saying. I just think that like the MySpace era and the Hot Topic era kind of ruined post-hardcore.
Sure.
Because, and maybe it's just because we're older now, but I would like I would way much rather listen to this album than I would anything that like Chiodos or Alisana or whatever vampire ripoff band was that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but the problem is we call those post-hardcore, but they have post-hardcore aspects, but they're not
I
post.
know. I
Like
know.
that's the problem. Post-hardcore is just so encompassing. Too much falls into this.
Well, it's because I don't know that people understand like where to categorize some of this stuff because it's not, this isn't metal, this isn't hardcore, but it's heavy. And like
Yeah.
you can see the influence of heavy music in it. And like I think that this album and maybe Artist in the Ambulance might be your best. Like if you had to show somebody, give me the picture perfect definition of a post hardcore album, I'm probably showing you Artist in the Ambulance or this album, honestly. And it's funny I say that because I still think What It Is to Burn is better.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at like how way before their time this album was, and if you go back and listen to it, how technical it was, how heavy it was without being heavy, how girthy it was, like it really is a good album. Like it really is a good album. And I understand where people are coming from, however wrong they may be, by saying that this is the best Finch album. Like I get it. If you're getting into this music and you're getting into heavy music and the first album you hear is Say Hello to Sunshine, it's going to have an effect on you because you probably didn't hear anything like this before.
Or if you're coming through the route of the radio, if you're coming through the route of alternative rock, and all of a sudden you're like, I want something with screaming, but I've been listening to, again, Deftones, Incubus, that kind of stuff. This is definitely going to scratch that itch and it's going to open the doors for more of this kind of stuff. Bite Marks and Bloodstains, dude,
that's such a good song.
Such a good song, right? So like it's hard for me because I even said it, like I was not a huge Finch fan. I told you this story when you decided to do this. I bought Say Hello to Sunshine probably the day it came out. And that was because we were expected to like Finch in 2005. It was because Finch was the cool band. It was the band that everyone talked about. This is what post-hardcore is. What It Is to Burn is what post-hardcore is. So I went to the store, and again, that album cover, fantastic, right?
It's cool,
dude, the artwork, absolutely insane. The dude's name is Jeff Soto. He also did, and I was like, I've seen this artwork somewhere else. He did Halifax's cover too. And dude, I just love it. But back to what I was saying. I went to there and 2005, my parents are hard scrutinizing anything I'm bringing through the door. Like I had just come home with Senses Fell, Let It Enfold You with a Burning Man on the front body, where I'm like, I am hiding this in my pants so that my mom doesn't find this one. I just walked straight into the door with Finch with a house, and it says, Say Hello to Sunshine.
Oh, that's positive.
Easy enough, right? She might not like it, but she's not going to sit and read the lyric sheet on that one. She's going to read the lyric sheet on the Burning Body, man. So
you were able to hide that Senses Fail album in your pants because of your lack of girth, is all I'm saying. All right. So, what else? Anything else on Say Hello Sunshine? I do know that there was a lot of like contention in the band, not contention the band, but contention in the band with how they wanted to go directionally. I don't know if it was necessarily after this album or if it was after the next one and why they broke up, but I know that the vocalist Nate wanted to keep the Say Hello to Sunshine sound, the more experimental, darker, little heavier stuff, but the rest of the band wanted to do more of what It Is to Burn, kind of the alt rock, post hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I read, is just they couldn't agree on the correct direction to go, which is what more or less led to it. So the next thing we got, though, was a 4-song EP in 2008. It was self-titled. Did you listen to it? Did you find it on YouTube?
I listened to a bunch of stuff on YouTube, but I can't tell you which one was which.
So it's the black background. It had the gold circle with
Oh
like
yeah,
the
yep,
F.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
So you can absolutely see the Say Hello to Sunshine, but you can also hear just what 2008 post hardcore was on this
yeah.
album. It felt very much more like a contemporary album for what you would get in 2008. The song like Daylight, dude, it's such a good song. Comes in just like a little bit of a chaotic riff, the screams up at the front. So that's where you're going to get like that Say Hello to Sunshine aspect. You get a little bit deeper into it though. And it goes into like what we were talking about, that almost sound that you get on like the used and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's a great 4-song EP. It really is too bad that they just couldn't get on the same page.
Right.
I don't think though they could have done this without Nate. Like
100%.
it's hard
100%.
to say that, right? Like I hate
No.
but here's the thing. I hate saying vocalists are the face of the bands. But it's true, right? Like
Well,
typically, especially in this style of music, if you lose your vocalist, it's really hard to continue on.
yeah. Yeah, but there's like so there's a difference between like the vocalist being the like gimmick part of the band than a vocalist that like really complements and helps define their sound. And I don't know that Finch would have been able to do this with any other vocalist. I really don't. Like his voice is so unique. I mean, it's really not even that unique of a sound, but like in this music, it is unique because again, especially in this time in post-hardcore, you've got all the whiny, nasally post-hardcore vocalists.
Yeah, when you hit 2008, yeah.
Yeah, and here's a guy that doesn't. He's got a lower register. It's almost
Right.
like Boy Sets Fire, dude. We talked about this with Boy Sets Fire. I think that bands like this are probably hitting the time frames around 2008 to 2010, and they're looking around. They're like, I don't recognize this anymore. We don't know what to do. You know,
Sure.
like Say Hello, Sunshine. I didn't look at numbers. Do you know if it was received as well as what it is to burn?
Um I don't. I didn't look at numbers. It here's the problem though as well. Like it got passed around different record labels. It started on Drive Through, went to MCA, and then ended up being on Geffen. I think on the album it has
But see,
multiple. It has Drive Through and Geffen listed
okay. So
together.
like the point to make with that is that like maybe even the record labels were just like saw the writing on the wall and they're like, what do we do with this?
Well, to be honest, like that's almost what
Yeah.
it feels like. It was like What Is to Burn was so good and they did so well. They're hitting the late night shows, like they're on MTV, they're on everything, they're blowing up. And it almost seems like the record labels were just like, do it again. We'll just
Yeah.
let you do it again. And then they got the album and they were like, oh,
What is this?
yeah,
Yeah.
didn't do it
Well,
again. So
so that's where you start thinking about the 4-song EP. Like, you know, it probably does pull sounds from both. And they probably were sitting there like, well, I don't want to write this, but like nobody pushed Say Hello to Sunshine. We had issues with that. So we can't go back to that sound. We got to go back to What It Is to Burn. So I don't know. Like I know that there were issues with it. I know that that's part of why the band broke up. And you know, we can get into it after the next album, but I don't know if you had anything else to listen to the EP. Like the EP was fine. I don't know why they're unreleased. Like they should have just released this stuff, but
I think the EP did get dropped. I don't know why it's not on streaming services. I think that one did get released. The next one, though, they did write an album in 2009.
yeah.
What did I send to you? What was it called? Was it called?
Phantasma?
No, that's the 2018. Was it called World of Violence?
Oh,
Um, I sent it to you and our other friend Chris. It was World of Violence demos. Um, this is around 2009, and it was good. I liked it. Like, here's the thing: the music that they were writing was good.
yeah.
They were just that's the troubling part though. Like, how do you write something, record it, and literally just gotta go to mix and master, and like you fight so hard that you're just like, screw it, we'll just scrap it.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah. I
So
don't know. I mean, I know there's other bands we've talked about, like Will to Live talked to us about that. that there was like an unreleased. I think it's on Bandcamp though, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
But that it was just like there were issues and they just didn't release it, but now they did, and I don't know. I mean, I've never been in a band, so I can't tell you what that process is like. But this, if I remember right, listen to this. It's very much more "Say Hello to Sunshiny."
I'd have to go and listen one more time. The World, is that what you're talking about? World of Violence album.
But regardless,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know that a lot of people, unless you're like a diehard Finch fan, are going to know about this. So, but what was next?
Well, so then
Back to Oblivion.
Yeah, I mean that's the 2014 album, but in between that, Nate Barcalow, the vocalist, starts a band called Earthbound Ghost. Did you listen to that?
Yeah, briefly.
You can hear the direction that he obviously wants to go and push. And then, like I said, the other guys start the band with Buddy Nelson in 2016, so it's a bit later, but Speak the Truth even if your voice is shake. And it's much more, like I said, much more pop post-hardcore kind of thing. It sounds very much like the soft stuff that Census Fell puts out, And so you can totally hear the clashing of sounds and where their fighting would come from. But when they do put stuff out, it's golden. Great. It's great. Yeah. Back to Oblivion, say what you want about it. Like, it might not be up to par of what it is to burn and say hello to sunshine. It's a good album.
So I actually think this is better than Say Hello to Sunshine.
Yeah, that's a wild take.
Only because I'm on the What It Is to Burn bandwagon.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Say Hello to Sunshine's bad. I prefer Back, and maybe that's a better way to put it. Might not be better, might not be worse. I prefer Back to Oblivion more than Say Hello to Sunshine because it's a Finch sound that I'm more on board with. So,
see, that's interesting to me. This album to me reminded me a ton of the Alchemy Indexes by Thrice.
Okay.
A very mixture of those sounds. There's times where, like, specifically the Air album, if you listen to like Anywhere But Here, it has a little bit of that electronic stuff. It's a very like, the guitars have that ambient tone out there, but it's a little bit faster. It picks up a little bit and all that stuff. Like, it feels like it could have been the Air album, Like,
musically, this is a very alt rock album.
Yes.
The only reason why it's post-hardcore is because of Nate's vocals.
Yeah. I actually, when I was like flipping through stuff, I went and listened to the Black Keys after listening to this.
Okay.
And there's times doing it where it almost feels like if there was just a minor tweaks here or there, some of the songs could be Black Keys songs. Yeah. Like, it even gets to like that point of it. It's a good album. I would have thought that this album could have actually catapulted Finch back into mainstream. Yeah. So
I don't even remember this album came out, honestly. We were talking to our other friend. He didn't even know this album existed.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, listen to like Two Guns to the Temple and stuff. Tell me that couldn't have gone on tour with some of those old bands that we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely it could have. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I really feel like it could have catapulted them back into the mainstream. It's weird to me that there was just so much infighting that they just couldn't get together and figure it out.
Yeah. So, because this album's 2014, released on Concord. I mean, 2014 though, like, I don't know. I don't know the relevancy of this kind of stuff,
Yeah. If this would have came out 2000, when was He Is Legend, It Hates You?
I don't know.
I feel like this album could have toured along He Is Legend, It Hates You. It's because like, go back to our He Is Legend episode. Think about some of like that sound change, some of that experimental stuff. Like, they are starting to get a little bit heavier. and they're changing their sound. Like, I feel like there was a wave of this style of music. I just don't think it hit at the right time.
Yeah. Or again, this could have been on. They could have been opening for Incubus with this album.
That's my whole thing. If they were going to catapult into like mainstream, yeah, tour with an Incubus. If you're gonna stick to more of like the post-hardcore scene and stuff like that, He Is Legend, probably a very good tour mate to go with this sound.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would have been a very complimentary band for them.
Yeah. What is it? There was one song. I can't remember what song it was. Inferium, the really slow song that like builds up to the really cool end. Okay. I really like Inferium. It's like the second to last song. It's really cool. There's nothing that stands out to me in this album. Like, it sounds good, but there's nothing that like blew me away, you know?
Yeah. And I think that goes to the type of music it is. Like you said, it's more at this point alt rock, like hard rock. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily what we're listening to, but if you do want to put it into the lens of the music that we listen to and the bands that we could associate with them, it's a fine album. Like, it's a good album. I'd rather listen to this than most of the radio rock that's out there. You know, like, I would rather put this on. But you hear what could have been on like Phantasma and stuff like that. And I just think that they had so much, like, they're just talented.
Yeah.
They're just a talented group.
So Phantasma comes out, what, a couple years later, 4 years later?
2016, I think, is when they tried to record it.
I think I can only find it on YouTube. I don't know that that's an unreleased one too, right? I did not actually like Phantasma that much.
Oh, interesting.
The songs that I listened to, I was like, all right, I'm okay. You know, like, I wasn't hurt that it wasn't released, I guess.
Yeah, I can see why you're saying that, but like, listen to the very first, like, Google it real fast and listen to Contra, just that first track. That's an awesome track. And in my opinion, it's better than Back to Oblivion. So like, it surprises me that you actually say that you didn't like it as much and that you did like Back to Oblivion probably more than Say Hello Sunshine. Like, it's just weird to me because Contra comes in just aggressive, nasty up front. And like, the whole album's not like that, but it almost feels like Every Time I Die-ish. That first opening riff.
A little bit, but I'd rather listen to Every Time I Die. I don't know. Phantasma didn't do it for me.
I get that.
The songs I listened to. What did do it for me though were the songs they released after. Did you listen to those 4, like Monuments?
No, so I didn't see that one.
Okay, so there were songs that were released after Phantasma. There's 4 of them.
Okay.
4 unreleased demo songs. Monuments is the picture perfect Finch song. Could have been on What It Is to Burn.
When did this come out?
I don't know.
Oh, is this the one that they played live?
But it shows them playing live, but it's a recording.
Okay. I did listen to these. Yeah. Okay.
Like, Monuments could have been on What It Is to Burn. It's a great song.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely a throwback Finch song.
Yeah. Like, I love that song. I think that song's like a great song. The chorus is just catchy as all get out.
These buildings are burning. Okay. Yeah. I did listen to these.
Okay.
This definitely goes back.
Very alt-rocky type stuff,
but
you know?
This is what I'm saying. You go and you listen to the one that they did with Buddy Nelson, Speak the Truth Even If Your Voice Shakes. Musically, it's a lot more like this.
Yeah.
Except for this then adds in some of what Back to Oblivion and Say Hello to Sunshine did. Like, you get that more poppy, upbeat style of post-hardcore, but then they add some of that little electronic sounding, little quirky, almost like Fall of Troy-ish sounding at
Right.
times, like things in there. But then, yeah, like the chorus to These Buildings Are Burning, old school Finch,
Uh-huh.
just straight old school.
Yeah. And I love it. I think this stuff's good. The comments, people are just like lighting them up. Like, and what's funny, these were released like 8 years ago, and there's people that are like commenting like this year on it, saying
Yeah.
like, "What are you guys doing? Write another album with these songs and release it." You know, and I agree. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. Like, this band really does mean a lot to me. It was fun going back and listening to like Say Hello to Sunshine. Um, I felt super proud as a dad because I was listening to What It Is to Burn, the album, and my kid was singing along to like all
Nice.
the songs. Like we were listening to Letters to You,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he knew like all the lyrics and stuff. Um, and man, that just made me feel nostalgic because I wasn't that much older than he is. You know,
Right.
when I started listening to this band,
Dude, that's
and
true.
yeah, and that's like an emotional feeling, you know, to sit there to someone around the same age I discovered them, and this album just holds up so well. The production of it is so well done that you can still listen to it in 2025, and it gives you the goosebumps, you know, like the first time I heard it. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm glad we talked about this band. I don't know that we've talked about bands that were polarizing, but this one like truly feels like really polarizing between the first two albums.
It's
But
interesting. But
yeah,
listen, you can like What It Is to Burn and you can like Say Hello to Sunshine.
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
there's merits in both.
It
So,
took me like 15 years to realize that. But I did, you know, and I'm glad because yeah,
absolutely.
like it's just solid music. I mean, it'll go down in history as some of the greatest post-hardcore, and even, you know, in my opinion, What It Is to Burn could go up
Yeah.
against any song in any genre.
And the last thing I will say is you go and you look through Reddit and stuff like that where they say like who are the top post-hardcore bands? Finch is not mentioned that often. But then when you say what are top post-hardcore albums,
What is Burns? Yeah.
or Say Hello to Sunshine, just to be
Yeah,
like just depending on who you come from. If you can't say like if you say one of their albums is one of the best, but you can't say the band is the band, in my opinion, they just failed on what they did. Their art was so good, and they could have been the top of the freaking stratosphere,
yeah.
and they missed it,
I
unfortunately.
but okay. So like we say that, but how many of these bands have we talked about like From Autumn to Ashes, From First to Last, you know, even Boy Sets Fire, Thursday to some extent. Maybe less Thursday now because those last 3 songs they released were like killer. But a lot of these bands flamed out really hard to the point where you're like, man, was it worth making that album? Like, why put it out there if it's ass, you know? Like, we haven't lately talked about a lot of bands that have only had 3 albums, right? I guess these guys
That's
had a
true.
bunch more albums, but they only had 3 released.
Yeah, 3 actual
A lot of these
releases.
bands, like From On to Ashton, has like 5. From First to Last has like what feels like 30, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, did they need to do that? Like Finch put out music that was groundbreaking, incredible. You know, sure they maybe could have gotten more popular, but I don't know what that would have done to them. Like, would we be sitting here talking about 4 other albums that were just like, you know, like we did Parkway Drive, where we're just flaming them the whole time?
That's fair. That's fair. I just don't know,
Like
man.
Under Oath, like Call It Quits, like
Yeah,
and on a somewhat high note, you know, like
yeah.
even if Finch would have ended on Say Hello to Sunshine, I think we would still be having the same conversation.
You hear
You
that,
know,
bands? Kyle says you suck. Just call it quits right now. If you've put out 2 albums, you're done.
it's the George Costanza, man. Like end on a high note, you know.
No, it is interesting. It is interesting because I do think that they are a great what if, and I think that that's part of the allure
Yeah,
to Finch. They're the great what if because like it's so good. So what
yeah.
if they had 7 albums?
I don't know, dude. I don't know what it would have done. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, man, this was fun. This was awesome. We did 2 nostalgia bands in a row. That was awesome. And we went back and forth. You said Finch or Funeral for a Friend. I'm
Both.
glad you picked Finch. We are going to talk Funeral for a Friend at some point
Yeah.
because that is a band
So
who I
this
listened
here
to
we go.
hours, and the next album a ton.
This might be the band that I'm talking about right now because they've got a bunch of albums after. It's not Streetcar. Is that what it's called? No,
Is that what it's called? No,
no, the album.
casually dressed and in deep conversation. Ours was the second album. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I didn't even know honestly that they had albums after ours.
See, I remember Tells Don't Tell Themselves. I don't remember Memory and Humanity. And then I do remember that they put out Between the Order and Model 2013. I remember them kind of coming back. So, but yeah, I missed and I mean, it looks like that one's a compilation album. Welcome Home to Armageddon. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
but Funeral for a Friend, another one.
This is gonna be a band that we're gonna talk about. So,
I think the better comparison is Silverstein. Silverstein is a band that has continually put out music, and what I'm saying is there are albums that you just miss, like just because they just have kept going, and every now and again you'll get a release and you're like, oh, that Silverstein was pretty good, and then you go back and you're like, oh, I missed 3 albums since they put out like this is I was listening to them. Like maybe that's what would have happened with Finch if that had been the case.
Maybe so. But no, it is a cool band. I'm glad we talked about it. So
me too.
Hopefully, if y'all stuck around to this point, let us know. Let us know what album is your favorite with Finch. I'm genuinely curious, and I'm excited to tell you why you're wrong when you tell me it's Say Hello Sunshine. There's too much girth in it, you know.
Gotta get that girthy low end.
We're gonna end this on a girth note. So we'll see you later.
All right, peace.
Bye.